The fate of Beth and Rip is revealed in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14, Life is a Promise, after they relocate to a new ranch in Dillon. For many of the Duttons, Yellowstone's conclusion is a conclusion. It provides answers to questions that have persisted throughout the season, including what would happen to the Dutton ranch and to each family member following John's passing. The fate of the beloved couple Beth and Rip was one of the most frequently asked questions. Unsurprisingly, Beth goes to Jamie's to exact her last retribution on the adopted brother after attending the funeral, which concludes the story of Yellowstone's John Dutton's death. Rip shows up just in time to help Beth kill her brother after Jamie tries to strangle her to death with his bare hands. In order to sell the notion that Jamie escaped, Rip and Lloyd dispose of the body while she is in the hospital getting better. As a result, Beth and Rip are free to begin the next phase of their lives on their new ranch without worrying about legal issues after Yellowstone. Beth shows Rip pictures of a new ranch on the internet as Kayce gets ready to sell the Yellowstone ranch. She doesn't tell him she's already purchased it until he sees the information. Since Rip is only worried about whether Beth will be happy, this scene demonstrates how well the two know one another and are in tune with one another's needs. Rather, Rip is primarily worried about the new ranch's distance from town and whether Beth will like being alone. However, knowing that this ranch is going to be sold and that she and Rip will no longer be able to live in her family's ancestral home, Beth takes the initiative to purchase the property. Since Beth and Rip take Carter with them to work on the new ranch, her decision to purchase the new ranch in Dillon also sweetly concludes Carter's storyline, indicating that she has finally come to accept him as an adopted son. Beth finds it exciting that the Dillon ranch is located in a more remote area of Montana, as Rip explains. When she arrives, she exclaims to Rip that she has discovered a bar, and the bartender chuckles at the thought of visitors disrupting the locals' way of life. Because the Dillon ranch is unspoiled by tourists from large cities who seek a taste of country life without honoring it, it is therefore closer to the rural way of life that Beth longs for. This gives the impression that Beth and Rip's new ranch is incredibly remote, but this is not the case. The Bozeman region, where the events of Yellowstone occur, is actually about 40 miles west of Dillon, making it reasonably easy to drive between the two locations. This clarifies Rip's remark in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14, when he and Lloyd remove the ranch's welcome sign, which instructs Kayce to notify him if he needs assistance with the land that Chief Rainwater gave him. The Beth and Rip spinoff from Yellowstone is facilitated by moving to a new ranch. The relocation makes it possible for the stories of Beth, Rip, and Carter to focus on life on the new ranch. Even though they are content in their new home, as their series progresses, they will probably run into unexpected problems that will put their marriage and their ability to support themselves on the new ranch to the test. Some tales might be inspired by weather-related difficulties, like Dillon's harsher winters. Other problems, though, might have to do with their relative isolation and lack of familiarity with Dillon's community. But the Dutton family need not be entirely cut off from Beth and Rip's forthcoming Yellowstone spinoff. Taylor Sheridan's next project might feature Kayce, who still resides and works on his own property in Bozeman. In certain cases, Rip and Beth might ask him or Chief Rainwater for assistance with a problem. As a result, Beth and Rip's spinoff could remain associated with Yellowstone while relocating to a totally different region, so they can begin their own lives free from John's legacy and influence.